I was shocked. 23 years, 276 months, 11,915 days of my life, gone in 30 seconds. The CEO looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You're fired. Security will escort you out." I stood there in the boardroom I'd helped build, holding my coffee, my hands shaking so hard the liquid spilled on my $1,700 shoes. I just signed the merger documents that would save this company from bankruptcy. 74% ownership, hidden in plain sight. And they had no idea. Tense pause. That's when I knew they'd chosen the wrong man to humiliate. Back in 2001, I was 26 years old with a pregnant wife, a mortgage I couldn't afford, and a computer science degree that felt worthless. Sarah was 3 months along with our first child. The doctors had already warned us about complications. High-risk pregnancy. Possible bed rest. I needed stability. I needed this job at Meridian Technologies like oxygen. I started in the basement literally. Server room B, no windows, fluorescent lights that buzzed like angry wasps. My salary was $42,000. I ate instant noodles 5 nights a week so Sarah could have fresh vegetables. I promised her things would get better. I promised our unborn daughter that Daddy would build something. The dot-com crash hit 6 months later. 70% of our workforce vanished overnight. The CEO back then, a man named Harold Vance, called me at 2 a.m. "David," he said, his voice cracking, "the servers are melting. We're losing everything." I drove through a blizzard. 40 miles per hour winds. I couldn't see the road. I arrived with frostbite on my fingers and worked 47 hours straight. No sleep, no breaks, just me and the machines, keeping the company alive while the world burned. When I finally collapsed, they found me on the floor of the server room, IV in my arm, still typing with one hand. Harold cried when he visited me in the hospital. He promised I'd never be forgotten. I missed my daughter's birth. Tense pause. Emma came into this world while I was saving someone else's dream. Sarah didn't speak to me for 3 days. I understood. I would have hated me too, but I kept climbing. 2004. I designed the encryption protocol that became our flagship product. 2008. During the financial crisis, I personally prevented 3 cyber attacks that would have wiped out our clients' $4 billion in assets. 2012. I worked through my father's funeral because a Chinese competitor was trying to steal our source code. I watched the service on a lagging video stream, tears on my keyboard, fingers never stopping. By 2019, I was Chief Technology Officer, second only to the CEO. I had 3 children now, Emma, Lucas, and little Sophie, who came as a surprise when Sarah was 42. High risk again. Complications again. Medical bills that made our first mortgage look like pocket change. $2.3 million over 3 years. I paid every cent while running a department of 200 engineers. My hair went gray at 45. I developed an ulcer. My doctor warned me about my blood pressure 180 over 120 stroke territory. I kept a bottle of antacids in every desk drawer. I missed Lucas's championship baseball game. I missed Emma's high school graduation dinner. I was in Singapore negotiating a partnership while Sophie had her appendix out. Sarah called me screaming. "Your family needs you," she cried. "Your real family." I told her this company was my family too. I'd bled for it. I'd sacrificed everything for it. Dramatic music sting. March 15, 2024. My first day as co-CEO. The announcement had gone out 3 weeks prior. Richard Holloway, the founder who'd taken over from Harold Vance in 2016, called it the natural evolution of our leadership. 23 years of loyalty finally recognized. I bought a new suit, $3,400. I had business cards printed. I told Sarah we could finally breathe. The mortgage on our dream house in Connecticut was nearly paid. Sophie's college fund was secure. Maybe I'd retire at 60. Maybe I'd actually see my grandchildren. I arrived at 6:47 a.m. early. Always early. The 47th floor corner office was being prepared. I could see my name on the glass. David Chen, Co-Chief Executive Officer. I took a photo with my phone, sent it to Sarah. She replied with 3 heart emojis. I was smiling when Richard's assistant found me. "Emergency board meeting," she said. "Conference room A, immediately." I walked in expecting congratulations, planning discussions, the future. Tense pause instead. I found 12 board members in silence. Richard sat at the head of the table, his face stone. Next to him was a man I'd never seen, tall, silver hair, bespoke suit, a kind of tan that comes from private islands. "David," Richard said, not standing, not shaking my hand, "this is Marcus Whitfield. He's acquiring a controlling interest in Meridian, effective immediately." I laughed, nervous, confused. "Richard, we talked about this. The merger with Solstice Tech I'm supposed to finalize." "You're not finalizing anything." Richard slid a document across the table. "Termination letter. Your services are no longer required. Security will escort you from the building. You have 15 minutes to collect personal items. No access to systems. No access to files. Immediate revocation of all credentials." The room tilted. I grabbed the table edge. 23 years, I whispered. "I saved this company. I built the infrastructure." "You were an employee," Marcus Whitfield interrupted, his voice like oil on velvet. "Employees are terminated. It's business, Mr. Chen. Nothing personal." He smiled. "Perfect teeth. Besides, your little encryption protocol? Outdated. We're bringing in new talent, younger talent, you understand." Richard wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at Margaret Okonkwo, board member for 11 years, the woman whose son's cancer treatment I'd personally arranged through our medical benefits. She stared at her hands. I looked at James Roth, whose daughter's internship I'd approved last summer. He checked his watch. "Sarah's medical bills," I said, my voice breaking. "Sophie's college. The house." "Your severance package is generous," Richard muttered. 6 months' salary. Cobra coverage for 90 days. He finally looked up. "Don't make this difficult, David. Don't embarrass yourself." Marcus laughed. Actually laughed. Embarrass himself? Richard, look at him. He's already embarrassed. 23 years and he still thinks loyalty matters. He leaned forward, enjoying every word. "Let me be clear, Mr. Chen. You're obsolete. A dinosaur. We don't need your kind anymore." Security arrived. 2 men in black uniforms, young enough to be my sons. They touched my arm and I flinched like I'd been burned. "Don't," I said. "Please, I need to understand." 15 minutes, Richard repeated. "Clock's ticking." They walked me through the office I designed, past the engineers I'd hired and trained, past the wall of patents with my name on them, 17 patents, each one worth millions. No one spoke. Eyes dropped. Phones suddenly became fascinating. In my old office, my real office, not the corner fantasy they watched me pack, 2 cardboard boxes. 23 years. 2 boxes. Photos of my children. A mug that said "World's Okayest Dad" that Emma gave me when she was 7. My antacids. Marcus Whitfield appeared in the doorway watching. "Oh, David," he said, shaking his head, "you should see your face. This is the best part of acquisitions, you know. Watching the old guard realize they're nothing." He stepped closer, voice dropping to a whisper. "I know about the ulcer, the blood pressure, the mortgage. I know Sarah's been asking about retirement communities for her parents. Expensive ones." He smiled. "Life's going to be very hard for you, very hard indeed." I drove home in silence. No radio, no tears, just numbness. Sarah met me at the door, saw the boxes, saw my face. She didn't ask. She just held me. I broke down in our kitchen, the kitchen I'd remodeled last year, the one with the 6-burner stove she'd always wanted. I sobbed like a child. For the shame, for the waste, for the look in Margaret Okonkwo's eyes when she abandoned me, for Marcus Whitfield's perfect teeth and perfect tan and perfect cruelty. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my home office, the one where I'd worked through so many weekends, and I stared at the wall. My diplomas, my awards, a photo of the 2008 team, all of us exhausted, celebrating after stopping the cyber attack. We looked like survivors of a war, because we were, and they'd erased me anyway. Sarah found me at 4 a.m. "We'll be okay," she said, but her voice shook. "We'll figure it out." She didn't know about the medical bills coming due, about the mortgage balloon payment, about the fact that I'd just lost our health insurance 3 weeks before her next specialist appointment. I couldn't tell her. I couldn't say the words. I opened my laptop. Old habit. Muscle memory. I typed the company VPN address out of pathetic instinct, expecting the access denied message. Tense pause, it connected. I stared at the screen. My credentials still worked. Someone had forgotten to kill my access in the chaos of the acquisition. I had 23 years of system architecture in my head. I knew every backdoor, every emergency protocol, every fail-safe I'd installed during the crises. And I knew something else. Something I'd buried so deep I'd nearly forgotten myself. In 2016, during the last merger negotiation, Richard Holloway had panicked. The deal was collapsing. He needed to show absolute control. He'd asked me to create a mechanism, a hidden ownership structure, that would protect him if the board turned hostile. I'd done it. A complex web of shell companies, IP-holding entities, voting trusts, 74% effective ownership, disguised as technical debt restructuring. Richard had signed the documents without reading. He'd trusted me, and then he'd fired me. I found the files. Still there, still legal, still binding, the kill switch I'd built into every core system, encryption, client databases, financial ledgers, even the email servers. A master key that only I possessed, not malicious, protective, designed to prevent hostile takeovers by allowing the true technical owner to lock down intellectual property if the company was stolen. I'd written it into the code myself, line by line during the 2016 all-nighter. Richard had approved it as enhanced security protocols. He'd never understood what he was approving. I had 72 hours. That's how long before the EAT audit would discover my still active credentials. That's how long before Marcus Whitfield's new talent started poking around my old systems. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I sat in that chair and I planned. Cold, methodical. The way I'd planned the 2008 defense. The way I'd planned every crisis response for 23 years. Sarah thought I was applying for jobs. I let her think it. I couldn't tell her what I was becoming, what they had made me. I made 3 phone calls. First, to my old law school roommate, now a corporate attorney specializing in hostile acquisition litigation. Second, to a reporter at the Wall Street Journal who'd been trying to get a source inside Meridian for years. Third, to a private equity firm that had lost to Marcus Whitfield in 3 previous bidding wars. They were very interested in my story. Very interested indeed. I documented everything. Screenshots of the ownership structure, emails from 2016 showing Richard's approval, the termination letter. Marcus Whitfield's background turned out he'd left 2 previous companies in bankruptcy, pocketing golden parachutes while employees lost pensions. I built a timeline. I built a case. I built a weapon. Monday morning, March 18th. Marcus Whitfield's first official day as de facto controller of Meridian Technologies. I watched from my home office as the chaos began. At 9:15 a.m., the first panic call came. I saw it on my monitoring feed, the emergency line flashing, Richard Holloway's direct number. I didn't answer. At 9:47 a.m., 17 emails hit my personal account from the IT department. Urgent system anomaly detected. Critical authentication protocols compromised. Emergency. Please contact immediately. I made coffee. French press. The good beans Sarah bought for special occasions. I savored every sip. By 10:30 a.m. the stock price moved. Down 3%. Unusual volume. Whispers on the trading floors. By 11 a.m. it was down 8%. The Wall Street Journal reporter published her first story. Questions surround Meridian Tech acquisition. Hidden ownership structure emerges. Anonymous source. Very anonymous. Marcus Whitfield called me at 11:23 a.m. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Bang. David, he said. His voice completely changed, all oil gone, pure desperation. What have you done? I was fired, I said calmly. Remember? I don't work there anymore. I can't help you. The systems are locking down. Client data is encrypting itself. The financial ledgers, David, this is sabotage. This is criminal. No, Marcus, I said, enjoying every syllable. This is a security protocol, written into the core architecture in 2016, approved by your predecessor, designed to protect the company from hostile actors. I paused. Like you. He was breathing hard. I could hear him pacing. Name your price, he said. Everyone has a price. 74%, I said. That's my price. Effective ownership, voting control, or the system stays locked. Every client loses access to their data. Every financial transaction freezes. The merger with Solstice Tech, which, by the way, requires functional technology to complete, dies on the vine. I checked my watch. You have 47 hours before the automatic news release triggers. explaining to the world exactly why Meridian Technologies is currently a very expensive brick. The board meeting was called for 6 p.m. that evening. I wasn't invited, but I was there. Through the cameras I'd installed in 2012 during the security upgrade. Through the microphones I'd personally calibrated. I watched them scream at each other. Richard Holloway, purple-faced, shouting that he'd been betrayed. Marcus Whitfield, demanding legal action, being told the documents were ironclad. Margaret Okonkwo crying. James Roth threatening to resign. At 7:34 p.m., they voted, unanimously, to recognize the hidden ownership structure, to restore my credentials, to offer me the position of Chief Executive Officer sole, with Marcus Whitfield's acquisition voided for material misrepresentation. I didn't accept. Not yet. I waited until 9 p.m. I let the stock drop another 12%. I let the panic client calls flood the switchboards. I let the Solstice Tech executives announce they were reviewing the merger agreement in light of new information. Then I made my counteroffer. Not CEO, chairman of the board. 10-year contract, compensation package of $40 million annually. Full medical coverage for my family, retroactive, including Sarah's parents' care, and Marcus Whitfield's immediate termination for cause, with no severance, no golden parachute, public announcement of his dismissal, and a reasons why tense pause. They had 30 minutes. Richard Holloway called me personally. "David, please," he begged. "We were friends. We built this together." "You watched him fire me," I said. "You watched him humiliate me. You said nothing." I hung up. At 9:29 p.m., they accepted. Every term. I triggered the release sequence. Systems came back online. Client data unlocked. Stock price stabilized. The Wall Street Journal published a follow-up. Meridian Tech stabilizes under restored leadership. Acquisition reversed. I didn't go to the office the next day, or the day after. I worked from home, through secure channels, letting them sweat. When I finally appeared 4 days later, it was at 11 a.m. I wore jeans and a sweater. The security guard who'd escorted me out tried to open the door for me. I walked past him without a word. Marcus Whitfield was packing his office when I arrived on 47. He looked up, saw me, and something broke in his eyes. Not anger, fear. "You planned this," he whispered, "from the beginning." "No," I said, standing in the doorway. "I plan to retire here. I plan to die here. Probably from that stroke my doctor warned me about, working too hard for people I trusted." I stepped closer. "You made me plan something else." "They'll know," he said, desperate. "The board. They'll know what you did. They'll turn on you." "They already know," I said. "They don't care. I'm the only one who can keep their stock price above water. I'm the only one who understands the systems. For the next 10 years, I am indispensable." I smiled. "And you are nothing." Security came different guards this time. Young, respectful. "Mr. Whitfield," one said, "we're here to escort you from the building. You have 15 minutes to collect personal items." I watched him pack. 1 box, less than I'd had. When he passed me in the hallway, he stopped. "This isn't over," he said, all bluster, no substance. "It was over the moment you laughed at me," I said. "Clock's ticking, Marcus. Don't embarrass yourself." That was 8 months ago. I didn't take the $40 million. I took something better. I negotiated a buyout of my ownership stake, $970 million. I retired at 51. We moved to Montana, Sarah and I, bought 400 acres overlooking the Bitterroot Mountains, built a house with windows everywhere, no fluorescent buzzing, no basement servers. Emma's pregnant with our first grandchild. Lucas runs a non-profit tech education program I funded. Sophie starts at Stanford next fall. P-Red full ride from the scholarship foundation I established. Richard Holloway resigned in June. Health reasons officially. The stress, they said. Margaret Okonkwo sent me a letter, apologizing. I didn't respond. James Roth tried to connect on LinkedIn. I blocked him. I still wake up at 4 a.m. sometimes, muscle memory. But now I walk outside and watch the sun come up over mountains that don't need saving. I help Sarah in her garden. I cook breakfast for my family. My blood pressure is 120/80. I threw away the antacids. Last week I heard Marcus Whitfield declared personal bankruptcy. Lawsuits from his previous acquisitions finally caught up. His tan has faded. His perfect teeth probably still work though. Small mercies. People ask if I feel guilty. if the revenge was worth it. They don't understand. It wasn't revenge. It was restoration. They tried to erase 23 years of sacrifice, of missed birthdays and hospital rooms and instant noodles. They tried to make me nothing. I simply refused to disappear.